Illinois Democrats pumped up heading into the November election. Early voting starts September 26th, believe that or not. And around the Illinois State Fair, Democrats from across the state gathering to hold a rally and a breakfast with the Illinois Democratic County Chairs Association. It's an annual breakfast they have during the Illinois State Fair when you've got two major political days. Now, of course, the Illinois State Fair has Agriculture Day and Veterans Day, and then they have Governor's Day on Wednesday and the opposing party on Thursday. So yesterday was Governor's Day. It was Democrats. So they held a breakfast in the morning at the Bank of Springfield Center here in Springfield, and then in the afternoon they went out to the fairgrounds and rallied. So let's just review some of the messaging that they're having for Democrats in Illinois, not just focused on getting more power in the state of Illinois, where they have supermajorities in both the Illinois Senate and the Illinois House, but they also have all statewide constitutional offices as Democrats, and they're looking for more power in Illinois. But they're also focusing a lot on, well, the 2024 election and Kamala Harris getting that nomination next week at the Democratic National Convention. So here is Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton talking politics in front of the Democratic County Chairs Association yesterday.
With your help, we're going to build up the blue wall in the Midwest and turn out the vote, not just for the presidency, but for all races in all 102 counties of our state. You know, every time I hear the latest jab from that loser former President Donald Trump and his MAGA cronies, I go back to the words of Maya Angelou, who said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. And you know what Donald Trump and J.D. Vance have shown us? That they're weird.
So that's some of the messaging you're hearing from national politicians that Republicans are, quote, weird. That was brought up several times from different speakers. But then the lieutenant governor, who announces her pronouns on occasion. She says, my name's Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton, she, her pronouns. In a lot of instances, some people may say that is weird. But regardless, the term weird being used on both sides of the political conversation. She introduced Governor Pritzker for a speech as well in front of the Democratic County Chairs Association.
Well, good morning, Illinois Democrats. It's so great to be here. What a beautiful day to be here with the hardest working Democratic Party county chairs in the entire nation. Can you feel the electricity across the nation for our next president, Kamala Harris? So exciting, and no one exemplifies Midwestern values than the coach, Mr. Blue Wall, Tim Walz. And God, I love to hear dad jokes at a big Democratic rally. We are just days away from hosting delegates and party leaders from across this nation for the 2024 Democratic National Convention. And we are 83 days away from hearing the two words this country's waited 248 years to hear, Madam President.
A lot of messaging in Springfield
and
about
right here in Illinois,
the Vice President, Kamala Harris, possibly being the first woman president in United States history. Though that doesn't seem to be the message coming from the Harris campaign. That is a message that Illinois Democrats leaned into quite a bit. More from the governor yesterday.
We expanded health care coverage to hundreds of thousands more people across our state.
Some would say that's costing taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars, especially if you look at the cost of non-citizen migrants that are getting health care, taxpayer-subsidized health care. And that, again, is $1 billion plus. We're looking at, $600 million more for the current fiscal year. But anyways, continuing on with the governor.
Democrats invested $3 billion more into public education. Illinois Democrats protected women's reproductive rights, and we banned book bans. And you know who voted against all of those things? The Republicans. It's almost as if Republicans don't want Illinois families to succeed. They seem focused on other things, like explaining away the 34 felony fraud convictions of Donald Trump, or whitewashing the fact that J.D. Vance said he hates police and wants to raise taxes on people who don't have children. And Illinois Republicans are attacking the environment and voting against education and roads and jobs, even in rural areas that they represent. It's embarrassing for them. No wonder the Illinois GOP is a super minority party.
The Illinois GOP will have their chance today to respond to a lot of this, and we'll review all of that tomorrow here with Illinois in Focus, clearly. But yesterday was the Democrats' day. But there was also some caution offered up. Illinois Senate President Don Harmon, he talked about how it's an exciting election, but it's also going to be a challenging one. He talked about in 2008 getting Barack Obama elected as the first African-American president from Illinois, and then the challenges there was with the 2012 re-election efforts for Barack Obama. Here's Senate President Don Harmon reflecting on that and how he says that's similar to what Democrats are facing this time around in 2024.
Now, the most challenging election I've ever been a part of at the national level was in 2012. It was harder to re-elect Barack Obama than it was to elect him in the first place, because he had a record to defend, because we had just had enormous success in hard times. He'd gotten us out of the Great Recession, saved the auto industry, passed Obamacare. But we also had to defeat the hatred that had been revealed by his election. And we're still dealing with that. That sounds familiar. This is the same sort of election. It's exciting, but it's going to be challenging. We have to re-elect an incumbent administration with a record, a great record of fighting for working families, of putting people to work. But we also have to fight that hatred that's still out there.
But what the hatred, at least you hear from Republican side, is the inflation that's happened under the Biden-Harris administration, the open border policies that Republicans are critical for, and a whole host of other things as well. So again, we'll hear a lot of what the Republicans have to say, but just some of the flavor of what the Democrats were saying yesterday around the Illinois State Fair. So at the Democrat brunch in the morning, they also had very highly produced and glitzy videos that they were showing. Here's just a sample of one with graphics flashed of all of the Democrats members of the U.S. Congress. Remember, you hear. So again, just some of what was going on at the county brunch for the Democrat County Chairs Association. Then everything moved out to the fairgrounds where they held a rally, and all the constitutional officers got up on stage, from the treasurer to the comptroller to the attorney general. Speaker Welch, Emanuel Chris Welch, he got up and talked about making history and getting more power in the Illinois House.
In 2022, you helped us build up blue, and we elected the largest caucus in the modern history for the Democratic caucus. 78 members of the Democratic caucus. We call it the Great 78. But you know what? In 24, we want more. You want to help us elect more in 24? If you do that, we're going to make more history, because 78 is already history, and more will certainly be history for each one that we add. But you know what? There's more history to be made in 24. Are you ready to elect the first woman president of the United States? Are you ready for Kamala? Are you ready to say, Madam President?
So, again, really focusing on the gender of Kamala Harris and the history that would be made if she was elected as president. Then afterwards, Governor Pritzker, he went off to the side of the stage and was asked questions by reporters. I am going to air a whole bunch more of that in the next segment, but just to give you an idea of how Democrats are responding to some criticism, the question I asked was, what's Pritzker's response to Republicans who say that Harris needs to answer for covering up President Joe Biden's condition? Because if you recall, 1 week, Joe Biden was as sharp as a tack. It was the best version of Joe Biden that they'd ever seen. The next week was the debates, which everybody's account is it was horrible for Joe Biden. And then you have the sequence of events to where Joe Biden ultimately steps down and as the candidate, endorsing Kamala Harris, and reporting coming out from the likes of Seymour Hersh saying that Biden was forced out, and Donald Trump saying it was a coup that happened, and that Biden's not happy about it. But should Harris have to answer for covering up Joe Biden's physical condition? That was a question I asked Governor Pritzker yesterday.
That's ludicrous. Sir, first of all, Joe Biden has been one of the greatest presidents we've had. Look at all the things he got done in a bipartisan fashion. We got infrastructure. We got a CHIPS Act that helped to create jobs, technology. We invested in bringing manufacturing home, and that's all because of the work that Joe Biden did.
So the governor saying that Joe Biden was a great president, and now we have Kamala Harris as the candidate. Today is Republican Day, so we'll review what they had to say for tomorrow here with Illinois in Focus Daily. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, join us each and every weekday morning, and don't forget, next week we are in Chicago for the Democratic National Convention. So be sure to stay posted here with Illinois in Focus Daily, part of America's Talking Network and the Center Square.